It all started when Angela and her boyfriend William decided to go to the countryside to her friend Olivia's party. It was getting dark, and they were approaching the country house where they were going to spend the night. William, tall, muscular boy with sharp cheekbones, worked as a swimming instructor in the gym pool. That was where Angela and he had met. Angela was a student, a short girl with nice features, blonde hair and a well-kept figure turned up, nose hair tied up, t-shirts with prints, tight blue jeans, white sneakers. That's all Angela. Along with her best friend Olivia, dances and moves very well. Her best friend is Olivia, a tall girl, thin and with long dark hair. Cares about her appearance like a princess thanks to her mother's education. Thin legs in leggings, blouses, boutique hip-length dresses. In general, the Smith family is well provided for, thanks to the work of her father, businessman. Olivia's mother, Mrs. Smith, is a housewife who has opened her own business, a flower shop, not without the help of her husband. Of course, she spends a lot of time at home while her caretakers run her business. Mrs. Smith has always been a quite cheerful and jovial woman with many friends, and maybe even lovers. Of course, nobody knows for sure. It's just that Angela had seen her a couple of times with strange young boys in her car. It's not surprising that young boys have been flirting with her at 2 years old. She has a rather attractive appearance, thanks in part to the constant trips to beauty salons, tanning centers, and other places that women have taken advantage of to try to preserve their youth. If the lady is a Miss Libya, they walk side by side. It is likely that a stranger who looks at them from behind will mistake them for friends. The shape of the lady is Miss, although somewhat plumper than that of her daughter. She is still quite youthful and slender. Olivia's father is the founder of an automobile holding company, is a broad-shouldered lump with a round face, bald, and with a thick black mustache. Unlike Mrs. Smith, he is rarely at home, and understandably so. He is a workaholic. Angela and her boyfriend were heading to the Levine family's country house. The father of the family had gone on a long business trip, and Olivia's mother, being a very understanding person, helps him organize a big party for her daughter. And then the story begins. Angela did not remember the end of the party with the handsome boys from the student rugby team. She remembered several half-empty bottles of tequila on the table, how she bathed with her friend, how she arrived at the party with her boyfriend William and introduced him to her friend Olivia and her mother, Mrs. Smith. Then the girls from the economics department arrived, and 8 boys from the student rugby team. She remembered how they sat together in the living room and played cards. They danced on the bed as the hot-headed boy on the team molested her and pinched her. After that, William fought with him and dragged him out to the yard in front of Olivia's parents' cottage. She remembered Mrs. Smith inviting everyone to an old deli her husband had brought from Ireland. She vividly remembered the fight with her boyfriend and how Olivia's mother, worried about William's break, had taken him upstairs to put a compress on him. She remembered the fun of the 2 boys wrestling in the hallway and the boys betting on drinks. Her last memory was dancing with the hot guy on the team, holding her and whispering some mild vulgarities in her ear. She wanted William to get jealous to show him how much he cared that he cared. But he was gone, and he was gone. She started to worry that he was getting sick. But eventually he was getting sick. Her body did not listen to her between dizziness and general weakness. Her thoughts were confused, but she had fun as if she had taken an antidepressant. The rest of the night remained a blur. Angela opened her eyes, trying to figure out where she was. Everything was dark. Her body was a little dazed, a little dizzy. A soft blanket, a pillow. She had fallen asleep in the bed. Her thoughts were a little confusing, and she wanted to get up. But the general weakness was so strong that she decided to lie down a few more minutes to recover from the sound of her breathing. There were other boys sleeping next to her, and more than one. Apparently there was not enough room for everyone. Angela felt a strange sensation on her chin. When she licked her lips, she felt a thick and sticky liquid and a peculiar and salty taste. She instantly realized what she had on her lips. It was a shock. Angela began to frantically remember. The events of the night could be that one of the boys had done it to her when she fainted, or that she had done it to someone herself and did not remember, or not. William crossed his mind where William is, and if he saw him, the girl's heart raced. There was still the chance that it was her boyfriend who was on her lips. Her body was a little dizzy and numb. She reached under the sheets trying to see what he was wearing. When touching herself, she realized she was not wearing anything. She realized she had been fucked. and there were two guys. Angela got out of bed. Everything was black around her. She got up from the floor. She struggled with the wall and stumbled over the table, where the nightlight was searching for the cable. With her fingers, she managed to turn on the lamp and a dim yellow light illuminated the room. It was a small guest bedroom, I think, on the first floor of the cottage. There were two guys lying on a double bed. One was sleeping face down, spread out, and almost sliding to the floor on the lowered sheet. He had a tattoo on his back with some ancient symbol. No doubt he was on the rugby team at university. Angela had only seen him a couple of times, but she recognized him instantly. The second guy, thin, with black hair, who looked like half a loaf of chorizo. His name was Lucas. He was the boyfriend of one of the grandfathers in the economics department, and he was lying on his back closer to the window. There was no doubt these two guys were fucking her today. In general, she liked Lucas, but now she was too excited and even scared to be glad for a moment that they were handsome guys and not some street thugs. She put on her skirt that was on the bed. No blouse was visible. She opened the door carefully and went out into the hallway. The hallway was chaos, bottles everywhere. A small table overturned someone's jeans on the couch. A girl, one of Olivia's classmates, was lying on a large light gray rug. Next to her was a half-empty bottle of brandy. She was dressed in buttoned jeans and her wrinkled woman's jacket, although she looked less presentable still. Buttoned up, her honor didn't seem to be offended today. To the bathroom. We have to go to the bathroom. Angela stood on tiptoe down the hallway, stepping on bottles strewn on the other side of the door. The water was pouring. Someone was taking a bath, or had fallen asleep in the tub, which was also likely. Angela pulled the handle, and the door slid open through the small crack. She saw a madness in the bathroom near the sink. Olivia was kneeling. Her lips were painted, and her makeup was slightly smeared. Above her was a young, thin guy in an unbuttoned blue shirt, and his jeans pulled down to his ankles. And he was doing his thing to Olivia. She clearly didn't care about all this, and she looked at him with loving eyes, panting. Behind him in the bathroom was another guy of average build and a short haircut, standing under the water jet, spying on the fun of the couple. Finally, the blonde guy pinned Olivia against the wall and began to move her hips. The girl closed her eyes, accepting him in silence. Suddenly she saw Angela standing on the other side of the door, spying on her games. "Hi," the boy said, waving his hand for her to enter. "Come in. We are having fun." He did not seem worried at all in case he was caught. Olivia takes a step away from the door. "Don't be afraid. Come in. I saw you, Contolia and Lucas. It went well." He smiled. He seemed completely sober. "Nightmare me." Angela grabs her head. I go. Her head kept spinning. Her thoughts continued to be jumbled. "What are you doing?" I raise my eyebrows, surprised. "It's been 2 hours since we slept together here. You did not leave with the confusing jokes. So why is he being modest, Angela?" I look at him horrified. "You have drunk too much. You do not remember how they fucked you, Lucas. Oliver Elim? That Angela?" She covered her mouth with her hands, horrified by what she had heard. "You are something." The boy smiled. "Really? Don't you remember we played cards for wishes in the living room? You lost, and they wanted me to please. They went out. They hinted at a massage or something, and you made it even more pleasant. He didn't particularly resist, of course. But you were the initiator, didn't you?" Angela covered her face with her hands for a second. She wanted to fall to the floor. She didn't want to believe it. "You're lying. I couldn't have done that." Angela's cheeks flushed. She was horrified by this story. "So what did you do?" The blonde raised his hands. Olivia took a breath and listened to the conversation. Looking at the scared, Angela wiped her lips with the palm of her hand and said, "It's true, Angel. You made her feel good. Then, in the living room, some of the girls left right away when they saw it. Well, you made the boys. They got horny. And then you went with Lucas and Oliver to the bedroom." Angela stayed silent, covering her face with her hands, with her head down. It was unthinkable. She felt like she was asleep. Where was William? He had seen everything. He asked in a low voice. "No." Olivia shook her head. "I haven't seen him all night. He probably went to sleep on the second floor after they put the bandage on him. Of course, that wasn't it. A maid. Feel better. but at least he didn't see him in person. The blonde stayed silent for a while, thinking about something, and then said, "Look, don't be sad. I'm the captain of the team. The boys listen to me. I'll talk to them, so they keep their mouths shut. Lean will shut up, and Lucas too won't benefit from it, or he'll lose the girl. I can't promise for Oliver. But the boys and I will talk to him, and the girls they saw everything they are friends of Olivia will talk to them, right? Or Libya? I don't know." Olivia pressed her lips. "I'll talk, of course, but there they are, so gossipy in a moment. They will whisper, and there will be new gossip, but my close friends won't tell anyone." "Thanks, Angela." Looked hopefully at the boys, still couldn't believe that I could do something like that. "What is your name?" "My name is Elias. I keep my word. I keep my word. I will talk to everyone, and I hope that no one," she cracked. "Thank you." Angela nodded. "Have you seen William? I want to know where he is." "Don't you dare tell him yourself." Max puckered his chest. "It's too big, you have it. I saw it with Mrs. Smith on the second floor when she went to put a pad on him." Olivia got up from her knees and turned on the faucet to wash her face. "Look at the bedrooms upstairs. He must be there. We locked the bedrooms and guests. If anything, the keys are in the locker in the hall on the top shelf." Angela washed her face and somehow cleaned herself up and went out into the long hallway, grabbing the keys from the bedside table. She went in search of her boyfriend, with the sincere hope that he was sleeping peacefully on the second floor and would never find out what had happened in this house today. She crossed the living room and climbed the creaky wooden stairs to the second floor. The door was closed. Apparently, Mrs. Smith Angela decided to lock herself away from the noisy students taking the correct key. Angela entered on the second floor of the little house at the end of the gloomy hallway. A light was burning that seeped from under the closed door. Angela stood on tiptoe to the entrance of Mrs. Smith's bedroom. From there came silent and indecipherable sounds. The girl took a deep breath and opened the door silently in a large, bright room on a wide bed face down and made a William naked handcuffed, chained to a metal headboard. Angela saw Mrs. Smith, who was leaning over William, standing behind him. Angela covered her mouth with her hands, horrified to see that suddenly the woman turned her head and saw Angela at the door. She stood still, looking at the girl anxiously, everything inside Angela. The aunt turned with force and walked quickly down the hallway towards the exit. Mrs. Smith did not reach her. The girl went down the stairs, grabbed her bag from the room where the two boys were lying, and left. She left quietly. Her relationship with William was over. She only said one thing: always stay away from unreliable people and drinks. That's the story. Share in the comments what you think about this situation and the character's behavior, and thanks for listening to the story until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day.